It's just gonna pause. Hey everybody. If you're here, we just screened my short film called My Critic. And we are getting ready to get it going here on the live. All right, just waiting for the pause point in our movie. So if you'd like to see the movie, we are on OVITVS.org. Restoring faith in me, Lord. Revealing victory, God. We can project. I can hear. Hurt, anguish at once. I'm just waiting for the pop point. I smile for a while. The strongest drug couldn't mend the disguise of myself I held within. But you've always been my friend. And you I guess it started there. Hello, everybody. Bear with us. We are learning all of these things as we go. So, hold on. Bear with us. We're learning all of these things. Let's see. Okay. I don't know. Hold on. Okay. Can everybody see us that is in the chat? Can everybody see us in the chat? Can you guys let us know if this Google Hangout is coming up at all? Bear with us, people. We're learning this. You guys can see us. We just keep seeing craziness on the screen. So you wanted to be sure.
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us? Can anybody hear us? You guys can see us. We just keep seeing craziness on the screen. So you wanted to be sure. Can you hear us? Can anybody hear us? You guys can see us. We just keep seeing craziness on the screen. Okay. All right. I think we're Gucci. So let's turn that off so we don't have. There's a delay. So anyway, thank you all for sticking around. If you're still here for the talk back, so we have done My Critic. So there's an echo repeat on what we're saying. Okay. Interesting. Is there still an echo repeat? Anybody? Still an echo? Still an echo? Okay. No echo. Thank you, Angela. All right, so thank you guys for bearing with us. Like I said, through.
Southern, you do see someone else. We have a guest.
Yes, you do see someone else. I was going to say, be not afraid of the mystery man in the corner. So we will explain who that person is shortly. So thank you guys so much for yes, iffy between us and the other gentleman. So be not afraid. We will introduce this person shortly. So again, thank you guys for hanging around. Thank you so much for just being willing to take time out of your day to kick it with us and, you know, do this whole little hangout situation. So does anybody have any questions about the film at all? Thanks. Hi, Gigi. Anybody have any questions? You can just type them in the chat box and we will do our best to answer them succinctly. And then we will introduce our guest shortly after that. You don't see or hear anything, Auntie Don? See or hear anything?
She's on her phone.
Oh, are you on your phone? Yeah, that's weird though. It still should work. Sorry.
Well, that's something we'll make a note of and see.
Yeah, we'll make a note. So we will make a note of all these things and ask the great people at OV to help us navigate for the next script.
Type in to tell her that. Dawn, type your questions if you have them.
Yeah,
I'll text her.
Yeah. Anybody have any questions about the film at all? Anything? You might be typing. I don't want to rush you. So I guess I could do some general explaining. We've been working on this movie for about 2 years. So today is a grand day of culmination. Thank you so much. I think that's Riley. That's not, it keeps saying Deborah. I don't, we have to ask them about that too, Riley. This is a new platform for us. And OV is great. They're very wonderful to filmmakers. So I know I have a lot of great filmmaking friends out here. So if you want to use the platform, just hit me up and we'll talk through some things. But thank you so much, Riley. I appreciate the congratulations. Thank you for the wonderful compliments. The motivation behind the choice to make this silent, yes, Riley, that is you. Silent was because it is an emotional piece and I wanted people to be able to roller coaster journey with the movie without me kind of dictating to you how to feel about it or telling you what to feel about it. I just really wanted the story to be as simple and sort of pared down as possible. And I just feel like sometimes dialogue can lead an audience or it gets in the way. I also wanted something that was going to hold your attention for as long as possible. Not too long. I know everybody has time and things to do. But I know people are so distracted and, you know, you're like, oh, I can be on my phone and like listen to this show because they're talking. So I really want to hold your undivided attention for as long as I possibly could. So that was the motivation of it being silent. And also, if anyone has ever filmed anything, it's very difficult to do sound and that I wanted to avoid in general, having to piece together sound and do that kind of thing. So that was my motivation. Thank you, Riley, for that question. Esther. Yes, Riley, the platform is great. Yeah, I don't know about the Deborah thing. I will ask about that. That's very strange. Esther, can you share more about who you are, my background, what inspired me to create this movie, all that? So my name is Jessica Williams. If you do not know me, this is my lovely mother right here, Pam Williams, who is the executive producer of this short film. My father, who's an actor, Ellis Williams, is a producer as well. And I'm the child of an artist and a business salesperson. And I just love art and I love telling stories. And that's what I want to do my whole life. And it took me a while to have the courage to tell my own story because it's deeply personal, of course. But once, you know, the gentleman who I will introduce to you soon, he can help speak to that. But I just really felt like it was time to tell a story that I knew something about. And that was my thing. School-wise, you know, student loans is real. Yeah, I went to school for this. I went to the University of Southern California. Shout out to all my Trojans.
Riley.
Thank you, Riley. Riley. We were in the same class together. So I have, we both have a Bachelor of Fine Arts degrees from the University of Southern California. So we're in the same acting program for 4 years with the same 15 people. I think by the time we graduated, it was dwindled down to about 12. But we did that. And then after undergrad, I went to graduate school. So I'm a graduate of Full Sail University, and I have my master's in entertainment business. And then I have worked in production, in television production, for the last 4 years. So I worked 3 seasons on How to Get Away with Murder with my auntie, the love of my life, the uber talented Miss Viola Davis. And I did the first season of Grownish, which is the Blackish spinoff starring Yara Shahidi. So that's a little bit about my background and why I made the film. Thank you, Esther, for your question. Let's see. Let me just read through these real quick. Not a question, just one. Thank you, Les. I appreciate it. Thank you for the love. For saying we did a great job of making it and putting together. Thank you, Pastor Charles, for being here. I know you can't. Oh, okay. No worries. We're going to be doing these ongoing. So these are going to be ongoing screenings, just so people are aware. So if you missed it, I wanted to create it in a binge-worthy capacity where you have to watch it multiple times and you'll get something different every time, hopefully. Hey, Ms. V, thanks so much. Yes, a struggle that we all can relate to, hopefully. If I don't, thank you, Riley. All right. Now, if those are all the questions about filmmaking, I would like to. Oh, thank you, Zanaya. I'm so glad you watched it and you loved it. And yes, please talk about the film. That's part of why we're doing what we're doing. So, on that note, I'm going to introduce the mystery man in the corner. The mystery man in the corner is Dr. Tremaine Walker, who is the executive life coach for myself and for Pam Williams, and a huge reason why this project is even possible. So I just want to take time. Clap it up, 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 clap it up. You guys can do some clap emojis and all of that stuff. So I'm going to shoot it over to Dr. Tremaine Walker to just kind of, I don't know, speak about themes and things, or just introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. I'm going to shut up.
How you guys doing? My name is Tremaine Walker. I'm a mental health professional. I've practiced therapy for over 10 years and recently transitioned to life coaching. Just as I've grown as a professional, life coaching probably fits a little bit more the direction of what I'm trying to go with my clients than therapy was doing. So life coaching is more focused on goals and reaching goals, and therapy is more process oriented. So while I am an executive life coach, I think it's important to understand that I can't abandon my therapist training. So a lot of things I do are process oriented with the goal of getting to the client's goals and moving them on, focusing on what their current struggles are and how to get them over the hill, over out of the ditch. So yeah, that's who I am.
Ditch is a perfect word. Yes, Angelina, Tremaine, and Encino. That's the guy. So cool. Thank you so much for sharing. Does anybody have any questions, I guess, about the themes of the film? Like
Negative
anything that you saw? Negative self-talk is, I guess, I don't know if that's a clinical diagnosis. The good doctor can confirm or deny. But if anybody has any questions about that or anything that you saw, anything, please type your info in the chat box. Do you have anything you want to say?
No, I'm just really happy to see today. It has been a 2.5-year project, and you can't imagine the things. I've learned a lot as a producer. There are a lot of things that can happen at the last minute. We had a crisis fire even as late as Friday that we weren't sure if we were going to be able to show the movie today, if we were going to have to cancel it. So I'm grateful to God that it's here. We're here today. We averted all the fires and all the crises, and it's really, really good to have you guys on and to continue this process. Like we said, this is our first time, and we'll be doing this on a regular basis. So you can tell your friends, you can share it with them, you can send them the link. We'll let you know when the next screening is going to be. We're kind of thinking about maybe we should put it back on a little bit later this afternoon since people missed it. And then we'll do a screening later in the week as well. So that'll give you time to share it with people. So just really proud of Jessica, really, really grateful to Tremaine and grateful to Tremaine in the way that he has worked with us through process to get us to this point. Like we said, it's been a 2.5-year process, and there were ways which he helped us maneuver around and get over and work through. And it's really hard to work with family, in case you guys don't know that. So there were a lot of times where her critic was talking to her, my critic was talking to me, our critics were talking to each other, and it could have been a real landmine situation had it not been for the guidance and the development and the process working through and the coaching of Tremaine. So we're very, it wouldn't be right to have this first time and not have him be here, because he's a huge part of this process.
Straight up, straight up. So Riley, I see your question about the opening scenario. So that's actually a great question. Hi, Dr. Hines, we see you. Yes, yes. So in terms of the opening scenario, it's a little mysterious. It's a dream sequence, so we can get away with some cool little storytelling devices. And I don't want to tell you how to feel about it, but to me, it's all about the process of balance. So those two characters are, I guess, a personified embodiment of Tess, which is the straight character, I guess, or the, I guess, real life like embodiment in our world. And then the saint and the cryptic, those two characters at the beginning, are embodiments of Tess's personalities. And so the saint is what we would think very pious, you know, the sides of us that are good for all intents and purposes. And then the critic is a little bit more about, you know, more of your, I don't want to say animal side. That's like not a good word for it, but more of the
warrior.
Things that make you, what'd you say?
Warrior.
Yeah, it's your
Strong.
warrior. It's the things that make you grounded as a human being. And so growing up in the Christian faith, you know, you hear about these sort of two, you're always fighting, you know, these two sides of yourself, like, or, you know, if you even take the angel and demon sort of analogy of like, there's always these two sides of yourself that are fighting. But in certain cultures, you need those two sides to have balance. And it's so funny, like when, never mind, I actually won't say that. Anyway, you just have to have balance. And I don't know if Tremaine wants to speak from a clinical perspective about why balance is important, and especially in light of recent events that we've seen in the news with our dearly departed Uncle Yeezy. So go ahead, Tremaine, if you'd like to speak to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think everybody has a critic. And I think it's important to recognize that your critic does play an important role in your life. Your critic does help with balance, and your critic does help with reminding you of what's right and what's wrong. But I think sometimes our critic could get a little bit out of control. And I think that's true for all of us. Most healthy human beings have been in a situation where you're conflicted internally. And most of the time you're conflicted with what you want to do and what you should be doing or what you shouldn't be doing. Sometimes I hear older Christian folk talk about the confliction between the natural and the spiritual life, which is always an ongoing battle. But I think that it's really important to recognize that your critic isn't always bad. You know, your critic is supposed to be helpful, sort of like anxiety. So anxiety is just really a siren to let you know that something isn't safe, whether it's physically, emotionally, or mentally. Same thing with your critic. Your critic is really there to tell you, like caution tape. So your critic and anxiety can go hand in hand. And like I said, it's really like caution tape or a yellow light.
Got it. Okay, that's good. And then to complete sort of the rest of the opening sequence, Riley. So in terms of if you're looking at this idea of balance, that those two characters need each other, and that one is sort of running from the other, and the other one is like, hey, we need to come together and have some sort of balance, or else Katrina, who I think of as the imbalance, of these two sides. When things are kind of like, as Tremaine is saying, like if it goes too far left, she's the person that comes out. And that, you know, if there's balance created, because at the end of the movie, those two parts are the combined forces that come together to stop Katrina. So it's about when they're in balance versus when they're out of balance, and, you know, who has to make sure that, you know, the other stays in check. I wanted to get to Pastor Charles. Seems like every creative person's experience negative self-talk or the inner critic. How does one recognize when it's out of control or a mental condition? That's a very good question, Tremaine.
So I think that it starts to become out of control when it starts to become overwhelming. So when you can't sleep, when you can't function on a regular basis, that's when I think that it becomes a little bit out of control. But everybody is different. So some people can handle higher levels of criticism. So if you grew up in a very, very critical home, you're more likely to be able to handle higher levels of criticism than somebody who grew up in a home where they were never criticized. As far as it being a mental condition, I wouldn't call your critic a mental condition, but I would just talk about balance again. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes we find ourselves in a place of being perfectionist, okay? And a lot of us suffer from that. We want to do really, really well in the things that we do. But I think it's important to realize this concept called good enough. And what good enough is really, are you able to meet your goals, right? We'll never be able to meet our goals 1,000%, but are you able to meet the majority of your goals and cause as little bit of damage to yourself as possible? But like I said, I do think that most healthy people have some sort of interpersonal battle. And I do think that's not a bad thing. I hope that answers your question. If not, maybe you can give me a little bit more and I'll see what if I can answer that for you.
Okay. And then
following up to that,
Dr. Hines, following up to that, she said, would you consider conflict to be good? I guess conflict between, your conflict. I don't know. Do you want to try to elaborate, maybe, Dr. Hines, and we'll
on that question?
Question, yeah, just so we can make sure we answer it accurately. Oh, thank you, Esther. Esther said, "You look beautiful. What an inspiring film! And where I get one of the shirts? Will you raffle any off?" See, Esther's off. Esther be knowing. Okay, so this is the merch. I want to say this to all my creatives out there. I actually learned this from the Queen of Television. Oh, okay, Dr. Hines, we answered your question. Wonderful. So I actually learned this from the Queen of Television right now, Issa Rae. Shout out to the HBO family. I did a conference with Issa Rae maybe back in like 2011 in Santa Monica. And so she was talking about her journey to do Misadventures of Awkward Black Girl. And she's like, as a creative, you sink so much money into your project, which we will probably talk about on another Google chat, because you want it to be good. And so she was saying that one of the ways that you make your money back from your investment, because projects are investments with hope that you will get a return on your investment, depending on what your goals are. And so she was saying that a lot of filmmakers make their money back right away by creating merchandise. So saying all that to say, we are giving away. Okay, thank you, PC. Your question's been answered. Wonderful. We are, I wouldn't say giving away or raffling. We just did a crowdfunding campaign that was very successful. Thank you to everybody that gave and shared and did whatever you did. We had a goal to be able to raise funds to be able to market this whole OV experience, which we will continue to do after this. And so we're giving them away in that capacity. And so if you see the contribute button at the top of the screening, so it says like My Critic, and then there's a link that says contribute. If you go there now, you can actually, if you feel inclined to contribute to the marketing effort to make sure that more people are able to hear about this story or come and chat. And we're going to be doing more things like this just to kind of get the subject out there, since mental health awareness is such an important topic. It just is in general. It's definitely important for people of color, not just because of Kanye, but just in general. And so, yeah, we're going to continue to do that. And at some point, they will be available for sale. Keeping that. At some point, we keep it on the hush. It's going to be sooner rather than later. You know, it's going to be sooner rather than later. So if you would like to contribute to that, We're an in-demand campaign according to Indiegogo, so that means we can keep it up for as long as we want, which is great. So yeah, does anybody have any more questions for the good Dr. Tremaine while we have him?
Talk about where the name Katrina came from. That's a good you and Tremaine story.
It is a good me and Tremaine story. Okay, so Tremaine is the realest, y'all. I'm just trying to tell y'all. And so he puts up with me. He listens to all of my questions, concerns, life things. Everybody needs a person. Anyway, saying all that to say, we were talking about and working through the themes of my critic, and we're talking about my inner critic in general. And so maybe like a couple of days before I met with him in the session, I just figured like I would name my critic, like I would give it a name. And Katrina was a name that popped up in my head. Didn't know why. And why I said with Tremaine and I was explaining it, he was like Hurricane Katrina. And I was like, oh, yeah, I guess. And so that's where the whole montage about Hurricane Katrina comes in. I'm by no means trying to be exploitative about that whole situation in New Orleans. Shout out to New Orleans. Y'all came back strong, still coming back strong. But I thought that it was a great metaphor for having an internal storm going on, and how do you resolve that, and what are the things that you can do. So Tremaine, I don't know if you want to speak from a clinical perspective about that session, or what that means, or anything you want to offer.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually seen one of the questions asked if conflict was good. And it's just like I tell couples, conflict is good as long as you're accomplishing something. So if you're having an interpersonal battle and you're fighting yourself just to be fighting and there's no growth, then it's kind of pointless. But if you have some sort of interpersonal conflict and there's some growth that comes from it, that's perfect. That's what we actually want, because people don't grow in comfort. People grow in situations that make you uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. As far as the Katrina session, I remember that vividly. And as Jess talked about her critic, for me, all I could think about is all of the destruction that it was causing during the process, right? So during our process, we will have some destruction. It's like it's like going to get a massage or a manicure or pedicure. You got to get all that dead skin off, and sometimes it hurts a little bit. But once that new skin is up and it's renewed, it feels softer. Your touch to things are better. So Katrina was very appropriate for the things that were going on in her battles, her interpersonal battles. Katrina was very appropriate for her. And like she said, not trying to exploit the good people of New Orleans or that hurricane, but really that's what I thought of when she gave me that name. So yeah, I think it's important to name like your anxiety or name your depression, or call it the depression or the anxiety or the critic, more so than talking about it as if it's you. Because while it is you and it is an interpersonal thing, it doesn't define who you are. So really, when you talk about, anxiety, you don't want to say something like, oh, my anxiety's through the roof, da, da, da. The anxiety has made a pit stop. You know what I mean? That's more of a way I like to reframe it for my clients, because it lets you know that you're in control of allowing what visitors come by and what visitors don't. You're in control of allowing how long you want those visitors to stay. So with Jess and her critic, she was just allowing Katrina to have too much power and control. So we really worked on her recognizing that she is the one in power. She is the one in control. And while Katrina does serve a purpose, Katrina sometimes can be a non-helpful visitor or unwanted visitor. So, yeah.
Very cool. Thank you. Yeah,
Great explanation.
I know. Isn't he the best, you guys? Like, seriously. So that kind of goes into why, there's the choice to have two various sides of me, and then it ends the way that it does, because to his point, which he preaches to me all the time, like, this is something that's separate from you. Like, it has your thoughts and it has your DNA pattern and your life experiences, but it's not you. Like, it's something that you can cast off when need be, which is why I felt like the conclusion of the film is appropriate. What's also appropriate is that the ending where the cigarette walks off. It's like, okay, I'll just wait for a more opportune time to come back. And so it's not one of those things where it's a sort of one and done thing with your critic and you never have to deal with it again. It's an ongoing situation. So thank you, D18, for saying you're proud of me. I appreciate it. I think I'm pretty proud of me too. This is growth.
Tremaine, did you just hear that?
Everybody who knows me, I would never.
Whoa, did you just hear that?
I like it. I like it.
I like it too. I like it too.
Yeah, growth. Okay, growth. He's the real deal. I'm trying to tell you, the Lord is real. Oh, what's up, Deanna? Hey, what's up? Thank you, Riley. I appreciate it. Thank you. That's growth for me, y'all. Y'all know I'll be like, yeah, it was all right. It was cool. But not even just because of my talent. I think just in terms of just sticking to the process. Like, this was not an easy task, and as we're learning and growing and figuring things out, I don't know. It's just important to bet on yourself. I feel like, you just gotta keep it going. So yeah, does anybody have anything else? I don't want to be before you long. Done by 6, or because Ovi will be like, all right, that's it. So does anybody have any other last minute questions about the themes, anything like that? Does anybody want us to do another screening? Like, did you miss it? Or if you're like, oh, I feel like so-and-so should see this, we can set that up immediately after this. And then, thank you, Gigi. I appreciate it. Thank you for saying you're proud of me. Thank you. I'm proud of not just me. I'm proud of my team. I'm proud of my mom. Shout out to the crew. That's why we had that thing about like, please give hand clap for the crew. It's impossible to do this stuff alone.
Listen, we didn't have the money to pay people what they deserve to be paid. So this was a labor of love from a lot of people to actually make this happen. And so if you go on our Instagram page, we shout out the crew and we talk about who they are and what they did and how pivotal they were to make this happen. We've shouted out most of the women, so we were trying to get to the screening, and now we're going to shout out all the guys that worked on the film, because there were a lot of them as well, and they were really instrumental in helping us get this project done. You have no idea. It takes a 15-minute film, takes a lot of time, 2.5 years, and a lot of money. So we're really glad that it's in the public, and it's where we always wanted it to be at this point. So we're really, really happy about that.
Awesome. So thank you guys so much for the comments about yes, please. I think the subject matter is super important. We're glad. Thank you, Gigi, for saying that our team is amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Pastor Chuck. I'm so happy that you're proud of me. Yeah, we would just want to tell this story, and hopefully it will set many people free, as your comments said. Thank you. The authenticity, your authenticity in your piece is your place of influence. Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's real. Very, very true.
We've been really excited that we've gotten a lot of interest from the UK. We've gotten a lot of interest from Australia. People liking the film, liking the comments, and so we are going to be doing screenings on a regular basis. So if you haven't signed up with us on Facebook and Instagram, please do that. If you want to get text messages when we're about to do something, you can text the word My Critic to 31996. The number is 31996. You text the word My Critic, and then anytime we're going online or anything is coming up or we start selling merchandise or any of that, you will automatically be notified and keep up with what's going on with us. So we're grateful.
I'm just typing this in real quick for you guys. Just so we have it. In Facebook. And word of mouth is the best marketing that there is. So we do what we can, the two of us, very late into the night sometimes, word and let people know. But word of mouth is the best thing.
Word of mouth and word of social media.
Yes, please hit the share button if you see it. If you see us post anything. So before we go, I want to give a shout out to Jordan. Dominique B. Jordan, happy birthday, bro. Thank you for all your support of the film. He came to the focus group and gave his opinion about how to make the movie great and to sell it well. He also gave to the marketing crowdfunding effort. So I appreciate it very, very much. Tremaine, do you have any parting words for the people?
Just real quick. I think that this is an important matter that's coming up in our community right now. Historically, talking about your struggles, mental health struggles, or interpersonal struggles have kind of been taboo in communities of color. But I think that as a community, we're getting ahead of the game because we're seeing a lot of kids taking their own lives and turning to self-medication in order to deal with the struggles, their personal struggles. So I just want to say congratulations to Jessica and Miss Pam and your team for really getting ahead of the curve. And like you said, this has come out 2.5 years later, but you really been focusing on this for a long time. So congratulations, you guys. Congratulations to everybody that came to the Google Hangout, because I believe that you guys are also a part of the community that's going to help normalize seeking assistance and utilizing your resources to help deal with interpersonal battles and mental health issues, whatever that may be. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. We appreciate you so much.
For real. The other thing we were going to say, we would like, sorry for the next thing, we would like to screen this like in person. So if you know any, I don't know, youth groups, organizations you think that can use it, we would love to do a college tour. That's like big dream. So if you know anybody, if you think like, oh, that's cool, like, you know, just hit us up on churches, youth, anything. Groups. So all the Melvin family, shout out to the Melvins. Man, listen, they're the real deal too. We love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. So then, wait, before we go.
Wait, one more thing. Oh. And we've actually worked with Dr. Walker and 3 other therapists to develop a one-day kind of workshop based around the film. We're still working through that, but it is in progress. So when we say that we can go to your organization or come to your school or whatever, we mean that we will bring a professional. We have worksheets and things that will help people identify when negative self-talk is going into that next phase that's leading toward mental illness, and hopefully stop it before it gets to that. So we really want this to be a movement, not just a film. We really think it's really important, especially for our young women and our young men before they get into the crisis stage. We really are working. We feel it's part of our ministry to share that. So we wanted you guys to know that as well.
Exactly. I wanted to give you guys Dr. Walker's info. So get a pen and paper. I don't want to put it in the chat box because that's weird. His phone number, if you're like, oh man, I like this dude, or like, oh man, this movie really triggers some stuff in me. Phone number is, he's cool with this. This ain't no like, 818-288-1831. Once again, 818-288-1831. Yes, Angelina, he is great. And then his email is t.walker03, Walker and 03 is all one word, at yahoo.com. One more time, t.walker03 at yahoo.com. Did I get it right, Jermaine?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, you did.
And if you didn't get it, just hit us up. We will be able to give it to you. We also want you to go to our website. Go a little later. We have to do a little tweaking today because you didn't finish. But resources will be on our website. Places that you can text if you feel like you're in a crisis or you want to talk to somebody about it. Mental health organizations, Silence the Shame, NAMI, mental health hotline numbers. We'll have all that on our website by the end of the night.
I'm actually going to do it as soon as we get off.
Yeah, as soon as we get off, we'll put that on. So you can go on there, and those organizations are helpful because we don't claim to be professionals, but we just want you to point you into the direction of where you should go.
Sweet. The next screening will be Thursday. It'll be this Thursday, so that'll be the 18th at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So at some point later today, we'll put it up again on here, just like we did the last time. Share. I just want to give a shout out to Naima. I think this is Obi Naima. Yay! So Naima is like awesome, man. has just been.
She's our OV mentor.
Yes.
And she knows that as of Friday, we thought we were going to have to cancel the screening. So Naima, we will call you tomorrow and tell you all the details of what God did and how he did it so that we can do the screening today. So we're really thrilled about that and glad that you're here. Thursdays and Sundays are kind of going to be our regular nights for hanging out. On Thursday, we'll probably just show the movie. And then we'll try to have talkbacks on Sundays. So it won't be every week, but you'll know when it is. It'll be usually if we do a Sunday, we'll do a Thursday after that. That's our plan.
Yeah. So that it just has you have a consistent schedule and there's no surprises. And all
yeah.
that.
So you can tell people you can watch it on Thursday or you can watch it on Sunday. Okay.
Cool.
All right.
All right. I think
we
we're
good?
we're like a minute out before they're gonna shut us down. So thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you, Tremaine.
And we love you, Tremaine. You're awesome.
Thank you, Naima, for all your help. All right. Love you guys.
See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Good job, you guys.
Thank you. Oh, we did it.
We did it.
Hold on, let me stop the
Congratulations.
broadcast.